What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this is where we talk about the news topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the last week. If you enjoy the Scale News Update, hit the like button and let's jump into this week's topics. First topic for this week, Holmes Hobbies has released the new TorqueMaster winch. We talked about this a few weeks back. They are available now on the website. It's marketed as a winch that was a joint project between Holmes Hobbies and Team Garage Hack. These are a pretty powerful winch, looking like they have a pulling power up to 110 pounds. Now these run direct power from 2S to 4S, so it doesn't run through your receiver or powered by your ESC. It's actually powered directly from the battery. There's multiple gear sets available that kind of change either speed or power depending on which way you're trying to focus more. The highest stated power is 110 pounds of pulling force on 4S, and the highest speed is 11 inches of line per second. Crazy fast. Now you can also run it in a much more conservative way, which will give you just a couple of inches of line speed per second or about 25 pounds of pulling force. Now the retail on this winch is $175, so it's an expensive winch. And I think if you're probably paying a premium to get a super powerful winch, you're probably going to run it at one of those more impressive number settings. The winch is powered by a brushless motor, and a brushless winch controller is included, as well as some 200-pound test line and a winch hook. If you're interested in these, make sure you watch the Holmes Hobbies website. It looks like these are being put up in batches and likely selling quickly to those looking for a competitive edge. So have to keep an eye out, see if you can scoop one up. Next, for you DR10 owners, Exotek released a new large carbon fiber and foam front bumper setup in case you're trying to protect the front of those cars. They don't come with a lot of front bumper, and even a lot of the aftermarket ones aren't really made to absorb a hit. They're just out there for actual performance as far as like body mounting. This one actually a wide foam bumper to help protect what's behind it. And also for the DR10, Beef Tubes released their own wheelie bar setup. This is a thick carbon fiber wheelie bar with some bearing supported wheels at the back end. This doesn't appear to be an adjustable wheelie bar. It looks like it's a fixed style. It works with the stock DR10 mount, so you don't need anything additionally. But again, fixed style, no adjustment to the actual wheelie bar angle. If you're interested in that wheelie bar or any of the products we talk about in this week's news, make sure and check the description below. Next, for you SCX 10.3 owners, Club 5 has released a new aluminum skid plate. Now, normally an aluminum skid plate, definitely not something I would recommend or even bring up on the news. But since the SCX 10.3 does have a bit of an issue with breaking the upper link mounts on the stock SCX 10.3 skid plate, this may actually be a product that has some merit, may be worth picking up. If you've had that issue before, here's an option for you. Club 5 makes some decent stuff. Maybe this one will be the option you're looking for. And for you mini crawler fans, last week Element released a new version of the Enduro 24, and this time with the Trail Runner body on it. Now the Trail Runner body, not necessarily my favorite in 1/10, but in 1/24 scale, I think I might like it less. But that's why there are body options. Some people are going to love this one. Some people are not going to love. The trimming on this one seems maybe what throws it off the most for me. It's got some really funky trimming lines on the front. It almost looks like it wasn't on purpose. Maybe it was. I don't know. Now this isn't like the 1/10 scale Trail Runner where it has a different IFS front suspension. This is the regular Enduro 24 solid axle front and rear. The Enduro 24 does have a standard ring and pinion versus a worm gear style. So again, the differences between some of the other popular 1/24 scales and the Enduro 24 kind of stack up in some of those ways. If you're a big fan of 4Runners, maybe this one's going to be right up your alley. And if it is, I've linked to where you can find them available in the description below. And then also from Element last week, the new Sendero HD was released. Last week we saw some teasers of this and I knew it was going to be released the day after the news came out, and it was, and my predictions were correct, almost spot on. They re-released the Sendero cab version and they paired their flatbed to the rear of it. It's a great looking combo. It comes in kind of a nice deep red color with a white two-tone stripe that you can put on the side. It is not applied out of the box, it's included inside of the box. And that gives you the option to either apply it or not. I think it looks great with it on there. I like the kind of nice classic graphic package they decided to include to install if you like. The Sendero HD also uses the Trail Walker bumper rather than the original Sendero bumper, which was a good call. And then it uses the Trail Runner rock sliders. So fits in, tucks in, everything looks just a lot better with this release of the Sendero. There's also some upgraded plastics. The front panhard mount is still the original style. It didn't get the upgrade to the style that's run on the Gatekeeper, unfortunately. So still have that old style, but the plastics are supposed to be a little bit more rigid. They're not the same rigidity as the hard plastics, but harder than they were. Looks great. Also inside of the box, like all of the other Element boxes, there is a scale garage, and this is a new style, kind of an updated barn look. Again, looking good. Cool to see those little options. I know a lot of people really enjoy seeing those, and kind of another Easter egg that they look forward to with every one of the Element purchases. Looks like this one's also going to be available very soon as well. So if this one really caught your eye, jump on it and pick one up right away. This week on Friday Night Live, the show where I build some sort of new kit almost every week, we're going to be working on a new carbon fiber no prep drag car. I'm going to be using the Undercover Drag Wings Renegade chassis. I've got that here, and I'm going to be converting my DR10 over to this chassis. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be a fun build. I've worked with that chassis a little bit in the past, but never had one of my own until now. So check in this Friday as I dive into that project. Last week I mentioned King of the Hammer starting, and it started towards the end of last week, and it's going to be running all through this coming week. Saturday we had the Class 11 race. Sunday was the T1, T2, and B1 desert race. Monday was the UTV qualifying and the Holly EFI shootout, and the action just continues every day up until Saturday when the big race happens. So make sure if you're interested in off-road racing, there's going to be all kinds of different types of events happening. You can pop in, watch it, or all day Saturday, the big race is happening, which is the most exciting day of King of the Hammers. And even though King of the Hammers is my Super Bowl, the actual Super Bowl is happening on Sunday. And instead of doing my normal live show at 6 p.m. Pacific time, I'm going to do it earlier in the day. So if you're interested in watching that, make sure you watch YouTube notifications for an exact time, and I'll also make sure I post that on my Instagram and Facebook to give any of you guys who are interested in catching an earlier live show the chance to find out exactly what time that is. And for the last story of this week, I'm also going to turn it into the question. But over the last week, I've heard of 3 businesses in RC either being sold or playing with the idea of selling the business. The first one was that I learned that RJ Speed was sold. And then recently I also saw that both Beef Tubes and Deluxe Fab were both playing with the idea of selling the businesses. And the question is that, how do you guys perceive a business after it's sold? We see it in our hobby, and you see it in all kinds of business regularly. We've seen both small businesses and large trade hands in RC over the last few years. But how does the size of the business possibly change your perception of it? If it goes from one small owner to another small owner, do you just take it as it is and hardly notice the change? Or with a large business with a lot of employees, maybe most of them are retained in hands change, and some of the high level business structure kind of then has to change with it. How does that change your perception of businesses? We've all noticed the sale of Proline and all of the brands under the Great Plains name, such as Axial and Arma and such, and I'm sure there's probably others that you guys can think of that have been sold recently also. But put your thoughts on the subject in the comments below. This is one that I think is going to drastically vary with your involvement or, interest in the hobby. Maybe you're not going to care at all. It's just they either have my parts or they don't. I don't care about anything beyond that. Or maybe you have some connection or brand loyalty, and that changes with the sale of a business. Either way, Really interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are, particularly on this one. But with that, hope you guys have an awesome week. I hope you catch some of the KOH action. Whether you've been interested in the past or not, it's definitely worth watching. I'll put a link to where you can actually watch some of the KOH live in the description below as well. Make sure and come check out some of the live streams, either Wednesday with Matt and I's live takeover, Friday for Friday Night Live, or Sunday's CarCast, which will be an earlier version of it this week. But as always, again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.